Hello, Seattle. I was in Mexico City yesterday, and I said, hello, Seattle. I'm thrilled and excited to be here. When Rand sent me the invitation, I was very honored to come here. And this one question has been sloshing around in my head for a very long time. And when I saw Rand's invitation, I thought I will make that the center of my talk. And this is the question. And the question is, why is it that the SEO community is so poor? Because we do brilliant work. And most of the companies that I work with get half or more of their revenue from SEO. And literally, SEO is like God's work. And so why is it that God's children are so poor? Why is it that people don't pay you like $1,000 an hour instead of $5? Why is it you have to live in a dungeon or with your mommy? And why? And Joanna was in one of our market motive classes, and she was telling me how all the things that she has to do to get people to pay for SEO Moz tools. And I said, this is the dumbest thing on earth, right? SEO Moz tools is this fantastic set of data that anybody would be blessed to have. And why is it that we struggle to pay $1 a day for that thing, right? $1. My Perrier costs more than $1. And I think that the root cause that I've at least established is very well sort of illustrated by this story. And the story is, I was at a conference recently where this really world-leading guru on SEO was talking. His name starts with R and ends with N. No, this guru was talking, and the seminal centerpiece of his talk about search engine optimization, along with the page links and backlinks and all this other stuff, was that he talked about how he conned an old woman whose dead husband used to have a website with a high page rank that wasn't being used. And how he pursued her for 6 months and conned this old woman to sell him the domain. And I thought, fuck it. Like, is this what is SEO? Like, is this what SEO is? And it really bothered me. But the guy made a great point, right? SEO seems to be all about doing an amazing number of good and shady things in order to get a lot of people to link to you, etc. And it reminds me. It reminded me that the thing that is greatly missing from all this traffic generation, old woman conning activity, is an understanding of why is it that we actually do search engine optimization, and what is the impact on the business. And this funnel sort of came to my mind, right? There's a lot of stuff happening at the top, like a lot of conning and page linking and ranking and backlinking. Blah. And as you come further down to what is important to the business, things get very, very fuzzy. And yes, some of you actually measure conversions at the very end, but it is sort of an afterthought as to what the impact on the business is. And I have to say that I wish that more of the people in our community cared about that fuzziness at the bottom, because it is the reason you will make a lot of money. It is the so in this conference, I'm sure there are entire talks about how to attract the traffic. But like, how many people bother to say, here's then how you figure out what happened as a result of it for your client? And if you don't do that, then why do you exist? And if you don't do that, you will make $1 an hour, right? And so here's a more traditional funnel when you think about it. It has a lot more clarity about what is happening in every single step. This is what will get you to earn $1,000 an hour or $10,000 an hour. The thing at the bottom, the more you care about the impact of the work that you do. What happened after you conned the old lady? And very few people focus on that, right? Very, very few. And so I want to talk about this today. And I want to talk about 3 different stories that I want to tell you about how to bring an astonishing amount of focus to our work, about and communicate the impact of our work in our day-to-day lives for the companies that we work with. The second one is focused at the thing you saw at the very bottom, this thing, this big impact, because we very rarely think about that, and how to be very imaginative and creative about computing the economic value of our work and not just conversions. And then I want to end with this idea of how to strategically align ourselves and our work with everything that the business is doing. I think one of the key flaws in only having an SEO strategy is there is a very poor understanding of what the entire spectrum of inbound marketing the company is doing and what is our place in the world, and then what can we do in terms of synergy across the board. And so how do you execute a process so you get really, really good understanding of what the company is doing? Because once you understand that, you can charge them lots and lots of money. So here's the first story. And it's about this idea that standard anything stinks. and I have to tell you that we can make a lot of things look pretty. This is a dashboard from one of the analytics tools. And it looks really impressive, but it is despicably useless. And you could do better, and you could go into one of our new reports, and it's like, oh, search engine optimization. And I'm like, oh, okay, now what? Now what do I do? What is it telling me? And I'll drill down more. There are more reports to look at. And so here's another one under the search engine optimization. I love the fact that the first 5 spell out robots hope why Google. This is real data for my blog, by the way. I kid you not. This is because you can see me at the bottom. I do show up at the end. And, it's hilarious. Anyway, so what the hell is this? Right? This is the result of conning the old lady. Right? And this is OK. And it tells you something about what is happening inside as a result of some of the activity, or at the very, very top of the funnel where all that water is churning. But it actually has nothing else beyond it. And you'd be really hard-pressed to tie these impressions to the thing that is happening at the other end. And I think that our web analytics tool, all of them, are very, very horribly sucky because they do this. Right? They hide information that will allow you to earn more money. Right? And then you can go anywhere. And sometimes I looked at this report, its landing pages, and it said average position. And I understand average position here, but what the hell is this? Like, what does it actually mean? It's very confusing. And when you look at standard reports, you run into these things everywhere, right? Here's speed. And OK, now speed I know is related to search engine optimization. But then how do I tie this to everything that was over there? And what happens is that we have a very, very poor understanding of the impact of our work across this entire important funnel. Yes, these SEO reports tell me something that is happening here, but what I really want is this entire picture. And I don't have that. And this is why if you come and show me a standard report, I will think that you suck. And you will suck because you don't understand what we're solving for. Right? And so never, ever do that. And this, of course, is completely missing from the picture. So here's a search report. Notice how glorious it is. It says organic. I love that there's a row called organic now. And then here's some data, blah, blah, blah. The thing that is really important probably is hidden there. And there is crap here that nobody should care about. And you will find this everywhere. And so today, when we do reporting with any tool, this is Google Analytics. You put Omniture, you put SEMOS tools. You pick a number of tools that we have access to. We end up with this, and this is why it is very hard to figure out what to focus on. And what I love doing is truly understanding what is important and then customizing the experience. Right? Because when you do that, you get a much better understanding of what's actually happening. So how hard is it? Boom, 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 done. It's not very hard. Right? And this is what is cute about it, right? Is that you really, really focus on the thing that you care about. And then you care about what is happening on top of that funnel, all that water churning. What does it cause? And so you understand how many people did we find, and what kind were they? And then you say, well, what happened after they came to our website? And then you understand what the hell happened as a result of it at the very end. And was it free? And it isn't. Nothing in life is free. You're all here at this conference, very expensive. And the great thing is, now rather than having your data fractured over many different places, or only giving you a tiny siloed view of what is happening, you have an end-to-end view of the data. And you can make much, much, much smarter decisions about what you should be doing next, right? From the top to the very bottom. And you can apply this everywhere. Oh, here, I'll send these URLs later. Here's another piece of hideous crap, right? And the thing is that there are 9 or 10 reports here. And the amazing thing is, I can replace all of these 10 reports with one. All of them. And it is pathetic that there are 10 of them, because there only needs to be one. And this is what it looks like. I can replace the entire page section of Google Analytics with this one report. And I don't have to run around in 8 different places and try to stitch the story together myself. I can bring it all into one place, right? This is what it looks like. Very, very simple. What happened at the very top? What happened once people came to the site? Did they stick around or not? Did I make money? Really, really simple end-to-end story. And now, it is much easier for you to understand what is the impact of your landing page optimization. It is much more interesting and important for your client to understand what you did. And of course, they will smooch and kiss you and give you more money, because you made this process clear. Right? And I love creating these things, and this is especially for the consultants amongst you. But I think it is kind of tough that I have to go to every client and redo the work. Like why? Why should I do that? Let me just create one thing, and now I'm going to just copy paste it across every single client I have. Because I don't have a lot of time. I'm kidding. So what I do here is, of course, I end up creating my standard report. Notice the end-to-end story again. Impressions, click-through rates, bounce rates, cost per click, cost, and average value. But rather than just targeting one part, the people who are paying our contract, why not create something for everybody else in the company? Why not create something for their boss? And why not create something for their boss's boss? And now in one place, essentially, you've created an ecosystem where these people can go and understand the value of the work that you are doing. And it's really simple, right? You create this, you hit save, boom. When the person who has signed the contract with you logs in, this is what they see, right? I go by the neck on the line. So there's the neck on the line. This is the performance about efficiency. This is what they care about, the quality of the landing pages. This is what they care about, the outcomes. They really don't care about anything else. The person who signed your contract doesn't care about anything except this. So just show them this. Why show them crap, right? And the interesting thing is when their boss logs into the tool, they just go to the next tab and say, OK, here's the thing that I care about. I care about the kind, the behavior, and how much money did I make. Remember the guy before never cared about it. And then the rare chances that their boss's boss logs in, well, we've got things that will make sure that his neck doesn't get cut off either. And see, all of this, one place, one page. This is how you can make more money. And the interesting thing is you will notice that the metrics on every single report are different. And they're different because I want you to talk to them. And I want you to understand the dynamics of their organization, and then choose the things that are important to the person you're talking to. And the great thing is you can save this and apply it to many other companies, just change the metrics here or there. This is how you can make a lot of money, right? By customizing the user experience they have. And the great thing is if some of you are using version 5, at least of Google Analytics, you can now add metrics that you couldn't before. I really hated the fact that I couldn't do bounce rates and unique visitors. Or I couldn't do unique visitors and many other metrics. And now I can do that. And again, look, end-to-end. Do end-to-end or die. So don't be the sucky person who sends out standard reports. And these are the 3 pieces to think about: acquisition, behavior, outcome. Every single report I did had each of these components. If you don't have these components in your report, you will keep making $1 an hour. The second component that I wanted to talk about, the tactical improvement that you could do, is this idea of segmentation. And you all know, right? Let's not look at everybody in aggregate. Let's try and understand people who come on brand keywords and long tail, and people who come from America and Africa, and people who are purple and brown and blue. You understand why segmentation is important. What is interesting is that in some cases, segmentation is everywhere around you. And I think that most search engine optimization folks actually never look at my most favorite report in any web analytics tool. And it is called All Traffic Sources in Google Analytics, but this report exists in Omniture, Web Trends, every other tool. You should make love to this report. Because the interesting thing is it is the only place in the entire web analytics ecosystem you have access to where you can look at everything the company is doing. You can see RSS, you can see Twitter, you can see organic, you can see paid search, you can see everything. And then you can focus on the outcomes. And you can begin to show that, hey, organic search rocks in context of everything else the company is doing. And what you're doing here is very simple. You're just segmenting the acquisition strategy for the entire company by the outcomes that you're hoping to deliver, right? It's the marriage of a custom report with the dimension that you're really interested in. But you can do even better, right? Every time you look at data, apply segmentation to understand value of what you're delivering, right? Here's social media. Here's my favorite segment of all is targeting the whales. If in this segment, I'm analyzing people whose average order size is 50% larger than average. So the average order size for this company is $30. And I'm looking at only people who did $60 or more. And you know what? 80% of them in this case came from organic search. Isn't that something you want to share? That you're really, really good at bringing the people who are really, really fat? I mean, wallets. Do this every day, right? Or my favorite segmentation, especially for brand websites, is that you create a lot of content in order to attract all these people to come to your website, but you have a very poor understanding of what the value of that content is directly to the person who's cutting your paycheck. So on the x-axis are all the types of content that the organic person has created after lots and lots of keyword research. In blue is the amount of content that they created in each category. And in red are the number of people who care about it. Isn't that amazing? It will make you to think very, very differently because you were directing your search engine optimization strategy based on what you think is important. And he created tons and tons of infographics around science. Nobody gives a crap. This is how you know nobody gives a crap. And nobody gives a crap about any of this stuff. And look at areas where there are large gaps between what people actually want and what the company is actually pimping. A very, very simple segment you can apply to focus the efforts of your organic search efforts, right? And here's another one of my examples. I really despise the fact that people come and say, I would like to rank for this keyword. I mean, did you know, like, only Adam and Eve cared about keywords? It's like key phrases now. And very, very few people actually understand. Definitely zero clients understand how people actually search. But many even search engine optimization sort of ecosystem members focus beyond the single keyword. So this is one of my favorite segments. And one of my favorite segments is, all it does is this regular expression. I'll send it to you, copy paste, change the number at the end. And it will help you understand of the keyword portfolio that is recommending traffic to you, how many phrases fall into each category. In this case, 1 word, 2, 3, 3 plus, 4, 4 plus. Just keep changing the number, right? And the fantastic thing is you can apply this to your current data that you have in your analytics tool, and you can get this magical stuff. Will it make you rethink your search engine organic strategy if you realize that a large percent of your visits use 5 or more words, or that there were 237 people who wrote novels on google.com to come to you? It won't even fit a friggin' tweet. It's longer than tweet. People are tweeting inside Google to find me. Would you have the same keyword strategy if you realized this is reality? So few people say, I would like to rank for digital camera. You're not going to, right? And the great thing is, this helps you not only understand in a very robust way what people search for, right? So when I pick the 4 category, I begin to understand what people type. And it helps influence everything about what I do, what I write, and what things people are interested in. It gives me a much richer understanding. But mostly what it does is I run these reports for people who type in 6 words or more, and then I do search engine optimization. Because I can rank really high for those things, because everybody else is ranking for single keywords. And that's how I can win. Right? More than 50% of my traffic is SEO. And now it's going to be 60%. I'm like, yes. And I do it by doing this. by getting ideas about what I should write about, what I have, what I don't have, by not focusing on the word web analytics. Right? That stupid Google is always going to outrank me. But by doing this. And you know what is great? It's really easy to do. 5 seconds worth of work. Slap this thing, do that, save, happy birthday. I bolded it. It turns out this font that I really like looks really ugly when you bold it. I only realized that 5 minutes ago. Okay. The greatest glory in finding insights is reserved for people who live at the intersection of custom reports and advanced segments. The single greatest thing you could do. So here I've created my segment for people who use 3 words or more in a search query. I understand how many of them are there. I can compare and contrast them with everybody else who's coming. I can look at the events they're doing, downloads, outbound links, videos watched, all this stuff. All this stuff is great. But it doesn't have the end-to-end story that I really care about. And so in this case, what I do is I go choose the segment that I'm really interested in and apply it to a custom report I have created. And this is sweet, because now I can begin to understand from entrances, bounces, blah, 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 everything that is happening just for this particular segment, and understand their performance really well, especially if I was doing SEO for this, right, in 5 minutes. But what is really, really great is not only understanding the overall performance and the page, blah, 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 but it is comparing it to everything else. So in this case, I'm comparing the performance 1 and 2 keyword organic search referrers with 3+ more. And you will notice that as you start looking here, it's like, wow, there's a lot of traffic here. And in every single case, it outperforms 1 or 2 keyword traffic. I said, damn it. I have spent my life focusing on this. And you know, the thing is, you might have had like a marijuana high when you saw this. Right? It's like, yes, yes. But if you did not create a custom report that shows the end-to-end story, you would not realize that even if they are half the amount of traffic, they count for as many or more conversions. And the economic value delivered by each one of these persons is twice that of the other giant pool of traffic. This is why custom reports that show end-to-end stories matter. And when you marry that up with advanced segments, second story. I honestly believe that this part of the presentation, it talks about this idea of computing economic value. And I can confidently say, after having worked with lots and lots of companies around the world, that this concept separates the winners from the losers. This one thing. People who do this well win very, very big. And people who don't still struggle to make whatever they make today. And the idea in this section is exclusively, almost exclusively, focus on that. It's to try and get our clients to truly understand and appreciate the value of what we're doing. And it's not dumbass things like page views or clicks, stupid metrics, right? But measure the thing that pays their salary and yours. Because if you do that, you will make a ton of money. And here's the thing. You should and you are SEO Moz members. You understand how important this report is. Do it. Measure this insanely. But regardless of the benchmark that you choose to measure conversion rate, across any industry vertical that you care about, you will realize conversion tops off at 2%. It doesn't matter. Pick any industry, pick any company, vertical, country. 2%. So when we justify the existence of our organic search efforts purely on the basis of conversion, you will realize you're talking about 2%. And remember, organic search is not everything that drives conversions. So you've got a tiny fraction of the 2%. Now, the reality is that we did bring 100 people to the website. Okay, fine, 2 converted. What about the rest? It is very rare that we sit back and understand what are all of the successes that we delivered. And what we do is just focus on this thing I called macro conversion, right? And then what I want to encourage you to do is think about measuring this thing called the set of micro conversions. One big thing the client and the business really care about, and the portfolio of small things that they really care about, or at least should, if they had any sense. Right? And the idea is not just to measure our impact on the revenue of the company, but the economic value that we added to the business. This is going to make you a lot of money. So, I wanted to show you using an example of a company that is based in Seattle. And I love REI. My shoes are from REI. And fantastic business, great, I'm a member, et cetera, et cetera. And so I would like to buy this bag, right? And it is not hard to understand that when people come to rei.com, they're probably more likely to be e-commerce oriented. So you click on the link, boom, you find the bag that you're interested in. Now I want you to see if you can spot why I picked this product. Anybody? No? Yes. I had a tiny orgasm. It's very cute. Anyway, so you can buy this bag, right? And you can measure the success. And you can segment it. You can say, OK, we got 10,000 orders or so, and we delivered $15 million of revenue, made up numbers, of course. And of that, organic search is 30, 40% of traffic. Boom. You have some sense of the value you've delivered to the company. But remember, what you're representing here is the impact of the 2%. Did you deliver any other value to REI beyond e-commerce? Because the reality is there are a lot of micro conversions, things that add business value to REI that are happening on the website. So you'd come to the website and sign up for a gift registry. So now I am very poor, and I'm creating a registry to say, you all please buy crap for me. Is this great conversion? Even better, I'm not even taking my wallet. All I'm doing is spending 5 minutes, boom, 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 Rand, buy me crap. And me coming to your site, just doing this, based on organic search, creates business value to REI. It's not hard to measure. Measure the number of conversions, how many people bought stuff that was on somebody else's wish list. Bada bing, bada boom, right? And or of course, I could become a member. I am. You should be too. And by the way, and you have to pay money for it, $20 a year, right? Or you could go sign up for lessons. This is me trying to sign up for a lesson in the Bay Area where I live. And then I could sign up for travel trips to rei.com. Do you know how much your great search engine optimization effort is adding value to REI if I book one of these vacations? They're insanely expensive. And yet today, you're not measuring it. You get 0 credit for it. Crime against humanity, right? And of course, there are apps I could get. I could sign up for marketing promotions. I could buy gift cards and become an affiliate and write reviews for products and services. And I'm running out of space. But all of these things, if visitors who come on search engine optimization are doing for REI, it is adding business value to them. And it is easy to find the dollar impact of each one of these things. It's not very hard to do. It just requires a tiny bit of effort from your end. And then you can go back and say, no, lies. Yes. And no, that's not $15 million. And now, give me more money. And it is exceedingly rare that we even get to the 14 million number. And it is almost unheard of that we sit down and compute the economic value we add to a business. If you're not doing this, you're never going to go beyond the kiddie table. Because in the end, life is about understanding the micro-conversions, identifying them, and computing the economic value. And then the greatest thing about this is that if any company has a portfolio strategy, which every smart company does, where organic search is one of the levers they're trying to pull, you can apply the idea of segmentation and begin to understand what is it that the company does and what adds value to them. And so you can segment the email portion out and realize all it does is drive macro conversions. That's it, nothing else. And then when they do display, it adds these other conversions. Nothing to do with driving the e-commerce value to our REI, but it does these other two things. And now your client is actually smarter. Because they will say, before, if they only cared about the conversion rate, they would stop doing display. And they will cut off their lugs to run faster. And now you don't, because you understand why you do this. Or the ultimate faith-based channel, social media. And now you can say, OK, it's useless for everything we care about, but this orange thing, it does add value. Right? And what about search? Think of how cute it is when your client sees this. Like, wow, I cannot live without you. Marry me. And remember, this is all based on their data, but your effort. And you have to go claim it. And you don't have to stop at the top, right? Don't stop at the aggregate. Go down deeper and say, boom, boom, boom. I can show you how my traffic is applying to every conversion that you care about. And I can identify every single thing about it. And I will make you glorious. This is what you want to shoot for. Because your client needs this. But more than that, you need it. Come on. I mean, admit it. We're selfish here. And the great thing is this kind of analysis helps you get context to the other things that they're doing. So for example, with social media, why do you do it? Not friends and followers. All by yourself, you can go back and say, I'll segment out traffic that comes to social media. I can identify the goal values and conversion rates for it. And I can even go deeper and help you understand that when you get a visitor from Twitter, it's worth 98 cents to the business. When you get somebody from Facebook, it's worth 76 cents for your business. And when you get somebody from organic search, it's $900. Isn't it amazing? Because everybody's getting really excited about this Google Plus stuff and cutting your salary to give it to social media gurus. I apologize if any of you are here. But this allows you to anchor your recommendation. And it's like a little bone that you can carry like this for your client. You can bring them back from that social media guru back to what adds value to the business. Right? So do this. And this is going to change your life. Not worrying about traffic and page views and stupid crap. Right? Don't. The last story I want to tell you is about process. And I've asked you to think about making tactical improvements to your life every day. And even if you just create custom reports or advanced segments, you will realize that it will require you to talk to your client a lot more than you used to today. And it will require them to be a lot more chatty with you and give you a lot more information than they will ever decide to give you today. It's really, really hard to get clients to do that. And it's even harder to go to a client and say, let us identify all the micro conversions. Let us work with finance and other things in our company. Let's tag the links so we can compute economic value and all that stuff. It takes a lot of work. And most of the time, if you just approach the client by saying, help me identify the 9 best metrics for you, or the 2 big segments I should focus on, they will just say, well, maybe next year. And so this entire thing, this is a process that I've created, a digital marketing measurement model, is entirely geared towards getting your client to talk to you. That's it. And it has 2 secret, powerful outcomes. One, they will talk to you, which doesn't happen as much as it should. B, they will reveal all their secrets about why or why not you're important to them. And get them to tell you every step of the process. And more than that, identify the thing that is really important to them. And most of the time, as we work in a company as an employee or a consultant with a company, it is really hard for us to get the kind of information we need about every facet of this funnel that will allow us to help our client to be successful. So because so much of failure is explained by a lack of structured thinking, I've created this process. It takes 5 steps, and I will even go so far as to say that if a client is unwilling to go through the process with you, you should seriously question if you should have a contract with them or not. Because if they are not willing to go through this process with you, it indicates their lack of willingness to be great. And who the hell wants to work with them anyway, right? So I'm going to use a real estate website as an example because it is very hard to find any outcomes for SEO for real estate. See, what the hell are you going to measure here anyway? I can do this with REI. It's really easy. So we'll measure a real estate website in this case. And the number one thing you have to ask is the hardest question you will ask any client. Why the hell do you exist? and you should quickly sweep Jesus Christ and all that aside and say, no, really, seriously, why does your website exist? and I can tell you, I mean, it sounds like such an obvious question. It's really hard to answer. Whether you're a mom and pop or you're a multi-billion-dollar business, this is one of the hardest questions for any company to answer. And most of the answers you get at First Bliss will be so stupid that you would want to kill yourself. Right? It's such a simple question. But anyway, so ask the question, why do you exist? Definitely ask them honestly why. And then write down their answers. And the interesting thing is, this question should be asked to the highest possible person you can find in the organization. So if you can find the VP, talk to them. If you can sleep with somebody to get to the VP, do it. Right? Take one for the team, right? Because the thing is, most of the time, we don't make money because we have no visibility or understanding of what is important to the person who sits at the very top, the man and the woman who has all of the power in the organization. So try and get to as high as you can. Right? If the janitor hired you, get to the director. If the director hired you, try to get to the VP. If the VP hired you, try to get to the CEO, as high as you possibly can. And then and notice all the answers are very vague. And it's OK, because the higher up you go, the more people are disconnected from reality. And so if they give you vague answers, that is perfectly OK. Accept those vague answers. But without these vague answers, you'll never get anywhere. So it's very important to get this question answered. And the next question to answer is a combination between the person who hired you and their boss. You just say, OK, if these are the vague business objectives, what are the actual goals for the activity that we're going to be doing? And these are the 2 words that are very important. Right? You want them to tell you what are the strategies they're going to use in order to meet those business objectives. And what you're trying to tease out is, how smart are you? No, I'm kidding. What are you really thinking about? Right? And how can we get you promoted? And so in this case, the idea was to create awareness, the fact that they're building multi-million-dollar homes, and to get leads for their offline conversions, and to highlight events that they are going to have every Saturday or Friday in order to con you by giving you Coca-Cola and asking for $1 million. Right? So those were the objectives. And so what role does the website play? Right. And this is fabulous. So now you've got your macro and micro conversions. Isn't it nice? You haven't even touched any analytics tool. And you understand that they're doing lots of advertising on billboards and on sides of buses and TV, and they're trying to drive people onto the website to learn more. OK, well, that's one of the things we're going to support. We're trying to get spam leads so that we can tell them to buy $1 million house. We've created very, very expensive collateral that they should download tools that we've created to see if you can afford these homes. OK, we're going to measure the usage of those tools. And we're going to try and figure out if anything we can do on our website to drive people, make appointments to see model homes or to come to the events, et cetera. Very simple. And now sort of you come into the picture. In a sense, so you've talked to the CEO and the VP, and now sort of it's collaboration between the VP and you. You're the smart person in the room now. And the idea is to simply identify what are the metrics that you will measure in order to understand if those strategies are successful, right? The last 4 words are really important. Remember that any number in web analytics is a metric, but very, very few numbers in those are actually KPIs. And the only difference between KPIs and metrics are that KPIs are actually tied to your objectives. It's the only difference. And so you go in and say, OK, how do we measure the success of this? Well, we're going to measure our branded traffic. We're going to measure direct. What about these other things? Well, we're going to measure conversions for newsletters and the home tour appointments. We're going to measure the number of downloads for the materials we've created. We're going to measure loyalty, because it's going to take a few visits to the website to convince you to come to see our model home or come to our event on Saturday. And then you come to the part that everybody misses. Everybody is upfront define what success or failure looks like. So I've contracted Kate to create an infographic about great jeans. And I love MEK, by the way, if you're looking for a recommendation. Anyway, so, and Kate's going to say, OK, give me $10,000. And Kate will say, why don't we sit down first and figure out what the target is that you're hoping for me to deliver to you? So that when I cut a check for $10,000 for Kate, a week or two later, I can go back and say, you were 10x the target. Here's another $10,000. Or I can say, Kate, you suck. You delivered 1,000. I'm kidding. Kate does not suck. It's more, almost every time it is the first scenario, right? You send her more money because she exceeded target. Most of the time, we fail to define success or failure up front. And I realize that oftentimes, these numbers are very hard to come up with. You can use historical performance. You can see what the competitor is doing. You log in to compete or trends for websites, see what the general thing looks like, and log in insights for search, and Hitwise, and try and see what the keyword things looks like, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you just make crap up. So it's very hard to figure out what the target for this should be. And so I said to them, what is the number that if you don't hit will absolutely embarrass you? Like you would be ashamed to show your face to your mother. And they said 150. I'm like, what? It seemed pathetically low. But I say, it's fine, right? Let's just put 150. Because we cannot think of anything better than that. And the first month, he was like 3,500 or something. Now you revisit. It is OK. Like, don't let the fact that you have to make some crap up here stop you from actually doing so. Because having those numbers is like a contract between you and the client. It will force you to think about how you're going to pimp the client, and it will force the client to think if you're the right person for the job. It's a very tough psychological thing to go through, but it's very, very important. And the last one is really simple. It's more directly just for you. Because we have more data than God wants us to have, this step is simply to figure out, once we start analyzing your data, where are we going to focus on? That's it. That's it. And the thing to think about is, like, this is my definition of what a segment is. People, sources, behavior, outcomes. I challenge you to think of a segment that doesn't fall into these buckets. Everything falls into this bucket. And just, OK, so for this, it's about traffic sources and converted visits. For this, it's the tools used, the document type, and geography. We want to know if most people who are downloading our stuff are actually from Las Vegas. If they are, our ads on the side of the buses should be in Las Vegas, not Seattle, right? And here, it's the number of people who visit more than X number of times. And where the hell are these people coming from? And why? And now, you have the contract that you need with the client. Now you know a great deal about all of the inbound marketing efforts they're doing, the thing that is really important to them, the thing by which they will measure your success or failure, and how you should analyze the data to understand if you are, why you are successful or why not. Right? It has nothing to do with web analytics, nothing. And yet, it will form the center of your magnificent success. I cannot imagine. So this is the real measurement model. I kind of skipped the one in the middle, right? And I'll share this example with you. And it doesn't matter how it looks. Here's one that we've created for a project at Google we're going to spend a few $1 million on. Not fake name, of course, at the top. But you see, it's going to help structure how we're going to spend a few $1 million on digital marketing. And we know exactly what success looks like and what we're trying to do. There's absolutely no outcome desired here. There is nothing to do with e-commerce or AdWords. It's just something to feel good. And yet, we're going to execute it as if there were outcomes tied to it. And here's a great example that I love where the entire brand experience is tied to an analytics measurement model. And here's one of my favorites, the simplest one you can think. Increase sales, improve efficiencies, establish brand. Boom! Not rank me for keyword RAND, SEO Moz. SEO Moz is great, and you suck. Right? That's not what the brief is. The brief is increase sales, improve efficiencies, make our brand bigger. End of the story. Brings an enormous amount of focus to the work that you do. Right? So remember this thing. Remember every step of the cycle. More than that, fall in love with the thing that comes as a result of the work you do. And if you do, I guarantee it, you will be so much richer that you will never come to this conference again. Thank you.